them being the rapid advancement of the medicinal and the scientific world, and kind of how that kind of can often dovetail. You've got a beautiful story to tell us about Queen Elizabeth.
Well, Queen Victoria, actually.
Oh,
So I'm going back even further in history. Well, during the 1800s, women were not allowed to receive drugs when they were in labor. And that meant it was not always a very pleasant experience. Now, Queen Victoria produced a whole tribe of children. And so when it got to 1853, she demanded that her doctor provide chloroform so that she could be sedated while her child was being born. Now, some clergy went into absolute uproar. And they argued that Eve and her descendants were to be punished for surrendering to temptation in the Garden of Eden. And as a result of that, no drugs were permitted. Now, she decided quite simply, I am the queen. I have the pain, not you. I want pain relief, and I'm taking the drugs. And society moved on. Today, we would not dream of moaning when women are in labor to now provide some kind of pain relief. So sometimes when there's a novel idea, initially it can seem strange, but at the end of the day, we get used to it. This week, I discovered that there's a company called Neuralink, and that put a question in my mind. Neuralink has put an implant in the brain of a paralyzed person. And this implant will read the signals from the brain. And the idea is that this paralyzed person's brain will be able to send a signal to the arms, and the arms will be able to move.
wow.
Will be able to send a signal to the legs, and the legs will be able to move. Now, it's a scary idea. And I felt like those clergy in the 1850s. And I had to begin to think, Nico, why is it that such a new idea, which potentially could make a difference, is going to scare you? What are you doing wrong right now? And then I thought to myself, well, the company that's doing this is owned by Musk. Look at what he did to Twitter. Look at what he did with Tesla.
Yeah.
What is he going to do with this poor brain implant as well? He's got a good idea in the beginning, but is he capable of developing it further? So I'm now finding myself in the phase of catch-up. I don't want to be one of those stuffy males who block everything that is new. And I certainly don't believe I have the right to tell somebody who's paralyzed what they can and can't do. And I need to make sure that I'm not blocking something simply because it's new. I am, and I must move with science. And when science can make a difference, I've got to get to understand, and I've got to get on the bus. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to feel overwhelmed at the beginning.
Yeah.
And so that for me is part of just getting on board, even although the world is moving very fast. My second challenge this week has come about by a congregation. Times are tough, and they ask themselves, when should we as a small congregation review our pastor's salary?
Sure.
Now, over the years, if you belong to a large denomination, that denomination will benchmark what pastors should be paid. They will see that those salaries keep up with the cost of living, and they will take care of all kinds of things to protect the shepherd. But if you're an independent congregation, then that is not necessarily going to happen. And particularly during COVID, a lot of congregations fell behind the times.
Yeah.
And this congregation asked me to join them with the leadership met. And we reviewed what the package looked like. We looked at what typical benchmarks should be, and they were horrified to discover that the pay package they'd put together was now about 50% less than it should have been. Now, they're a spiritual, enthusiastic congregation. I've no doubt they want to be fair. And I know they will do something about what their pastor needs. And so, if you're part of a small congregation, I want to encourage you. Your leader, your pastors, they're normal people. They have the same pressures you are. And unless they have an independent income, you need to be asking that awkward question.
Yeah.
Are we supporting our leaders sufficiently for them to be able to take care of their families? And I know it's a tough question, but we have responsibility to our pastors as much as they have responsibility to us. Have a good day.
Nico, thank you so much, and very, very on point. Really, just so important for us to be aware of these things and to ask those questions and to deal with those things. As always, an honor and privilege to have you in our studio. God bless you.
Thank you.